I'm a tiny bit early, so welcome, welcome, welcome. As I talk to myself for the first couple seconds, I'm going to give you a second to hop on, so we can get started. All right. Notifications are going out. Let's make sure we have the chat window up. If you're here, say hello. So I don't have a complex. Oh, my dog wants to come in. Puppy, why? Okay, let's get the dog. Come on. It's like you hear it and then you need to come in and you want to say hi to everyone. I'm totally sporting my Americorn shirt. Everybody needs an American unicorn. 4th of July is actually not my most favorite holiday just because we live in a place that is really close to the base of the mountain range. And so we have a lot of trees and natural type foliage in the yard. And so everybody blasting off these aerial fireworks freaks me out. I don't want my yard to catch on fire. And, it's one of those things that it's like, if it burns, there's nothing you can do, right? Nature put that there how many years ago? Like, it can't just go to Lowe's and buy myself a couple of trees and replace them. And so it's very traumatizing. All right. So welcome to Monday Soul Deliciousness, guys. Go ahead and chat if you'd like to say hi and where you're from. We're going to get started. I'm going to talk about not overlooking answers because it's really easy to do. And lately, I have had a couple of things happen where initially I was like, wait, what? That didn't really play out like I thought that it would. And I had to do a little bit of self-reflection so that I could recognize what was going on instead of what I expected to happen. And don't mind the construction going on in the background. Dave is putting up some of our siding. So Tayson had the camera. Tayson had my phone earlier, and Dave and I were trying to replace a bathroom window. So he videotaped it, and I have to post it because it's hilarious. Just listening to what he's saying. Hello. Hi, Lynette. I hope you're having a beautiful holiday. I'm not super excited to go back to work tomorrow. I've had 4 days off, so that's really painful. We've been staying up later than normal, getting up later than normal. And so, which is also putting me into the gear of not looking forward to school for us starts in like, I don't know, a month and a half. And just, my 5-year-old is definitely a night owl. So it's really hard to get him in the groove of going to bed. And his dad is the same way. So I'm like, hey, I want to be in bed at 8. My perfect world is going to bed at like 8:30 and getting up at 5. Dave, my husband's perfect world, is probably going to bed at 11 and getting up at 8 or 9. So we're not on the same page with that at all. In fact, a lot of times I just go to bed. And those two crazies have what they call a camp out on the couch, which is fine because I have no issues going in my room and shutting the door and turning on my relaxation rain and just sleeping by myself. Really, it's quite fabulous, actually, especially if I don't have to have any of the dogs or anything else. So I'll call that a win. Okay. But not looking forward to it. So, okay, let's talk. Let's talk about don't overlook your answers, okay? So hello, Lisa. I love allowing things to happen for myself instead of forcing things to happen. So I used to be like the type of person that I would pull the teeth out of a crocodile's mouth to make things happen the way that I wanted them to go. Could I achieve that? Absolutely. Did it take a ton of energy and a lot of work? Yes. Did it also create obsessive worrying for me? Yes. So I would just be obsessively worrying over, hi, hello. Oh, hi, Ree, how are you? And I would just like to the ends of the earth, like I would lay awake at night and I would contemplate, okay, something that's popping up for me is getting a loan for something. Okay, so Dave and I had the opportunity to buy a piece of land at hi Kathy, and I just was like so set on doing this that I was like laying in bed at night trying to figure out how to make this work. And just to the point of like not sleeping, right? So raise your hand, right? Ever done that before? So that's what I mean by like forcing stuff to happen. I would need to create like a full blown written plan, not really written, but literally like a full blown plan on how exactly I was going to make something happen. And just lots of energy being like used to get this done for myself. But here's the thing, and consciously, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But you guys, when you're trying that hard to make something happen, Lisa, oh my gosh, I love my truck too. But here's the thing, Cinderella has not gone to the ball yet. So, as crazy as that sounds, I'll just tell you because I'm hilarious. Like, so guys, if you don't know, so I had a truck. It was a half-ton Dodge. I'm totally a truck girl. Okay. But I have to have wheels and tires on my truck. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's fine. Go ask your husbands. But I have to have wheels and tires on my truck. I cannot do stock. And so I had a Dodge and it had a lift on it and it had wheels and tires, and I sold it so that I could get a Duramax, a GMC Duramax. And I have wheels and tires that are sitting in the shop that have been waiting for this truck. And so I am like, Cinderella's going to the ball, but I can't put my wheels and tires on until the 14th of July. So I laugh, and Dave is laughing at me because my truck is complete stock and we call it the Grandpa Mobile. I love it, but it literally is like just not like the whole shebang. I don't know how to explain it. It's like getting your hair done to go to the prom and not having a dress on. Like that's what it feels like. So I know that I will show the before and afters because this is just my gig. Like I love trucks. Trucks are my thing. Okay, focus. When people are like, what do you need a Duramax for? Guys, here's the thing. Diesel trucks sound just like airplanes. So when I am in a diesel truck, I am back into my KC-135, rolling down the runway, preparing for takeoffs. Yes, 35. See, she knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm doing a 4.5-inch lift on my GMC with 37s. I'm a little nervous because that's the biggest I've ever done. And I think I'm praying, but the guy that's doing it for me, he's like, he knows what my last truck looks like. And he's like, oh, the GMCs have huge wheel wells, so you can get away with this. And I was like, okay, dude, I hope you know what you're talking about. Because I don't want it to look like that crazy. I don't want it to look like I'm rolling down Main Street in my monster truck. I just need it to look mean. I want my truck to look aggressive and mean. And I bought a license plate holder that says Wicked. So I'm really excited. Okay, focus. All right. So I might be a little excited about it. All right. So allowing things to happen for yourself. Now, going back to situations when we're so focused on wanting to get this done, wanting to get that job, wanting to get that loan, wanting to get blah, 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 whatever it is, guys, we're so focused on needing that to happen, we almost start resisting the energy to allow it to happen because we're allowing ourselves to almost be like, we're trying so hard because we're so set on it not happening for us that we almost do the opposite of what we need to have happen. Okay. So I know it sounds opposite of what you're going to do, but you need to stop forcing it and start allowing it. Then you will stop overthinking. And when we quiet the mind, we receive answers to stuff. When we quiet the mind, you can see things that you couldn't have seen otherwise because your mind is going so fast. I ran across this beautiful word the other day, and some of you might know what it is. I can't remember. An ominist or something like that. I don't know. I need to look that up. Anyway, I loved it because it said that if somebody asked someone what religion they were, and that's what they said. And I was like, what the heck does that mean? And it means basically that you don't believe in any of it and you believe in all of it at the same time. And I was like, oh my gosh, that resonates with me so much. I don't believe in any of it, but I believe in all of it. Guess why? Because it's your reality. So think of it like this. In my religion growing up, it was always like, okay, pray for what you need, but then you need to sit quietly so that in my religion, it was taught that the Holy Ghost will allow you to receive an answer. But you have to be quiet and sit quietly. Same thing goes with this. Like you're thinking, you want to allow things to flow for you instead of forcing it. Like, right? For those of you that believe in God, that's like banging on his door and being like, yeah, I'm here and I want this to happen and you're going to give it to me. Instead of being like, hello, it's me. I'm struggling with this and I'm looking for love and guidance for whatever path that takes me, right? There's a difference, right? So same thing goes with what's going on with this. You don't want to force it because then your brain is out of control. Next is, are you noticing when things happen for you? And I have some really good examples to give you that have just happened to me. So this one I think I've shared before, but it's worth sharing again. We have a boiler system in our house. So we don't have a traditional heating system. We have a boiler. The boiler heats the water and the water runs through pipes in the floors. And so it's cool because your flooring is warm. It's really awesome, like when you have tile floors. But this thing is really expensive if you have to replace it. So we had to have a service call, and then we had it keeps popping off because it gives us this warning that the water pressure in the house is too low. Well, how are we going to really affect our water pressure in our house? Like it's coming from, the city water. We're not on a well. And so at one point, we just have to call and they come and they look at it and they're like, yeah, your boiler's just shot. So bummer deal, because and it always happens at Christmas time. So bummer deal. We have to have them come again. So one Christmas we do it. I think it was like $500. The next Christmas they come and they're like, oh, you have to replace the whole boiler. Like that's painful. So we replaced the whole boiler. I think like at that point we're like into this boiler fix like 10 grand. So really ugly, right? Really, really ugly. And so the boiler gets replaced and then it starts acting up again. And I'm like, I do not want this to go down. Anyway, then it stops doing it and then it starts doing it again. So I tell Dave, I'm like, the boiler keeps popping off. So what happens is it pops off and turns itself off. And then you have to push a button to reset it. And you get this little error that says the pressure in the house is too low. And so it's not working. And really annoying when you wake up to get in the shower and there is no hot water. #gratitude if you want to, remember how to be thankful for stuff, because not having hot water to take a shower is really not fun. Especially when you're a live or die by a morning shower like I am, then no good here. So I tell Dave like, oh, I don't want to have them come and look at it again. And so I decide that I'm going to do some adjusting of the energy on the situation with my water heater. And so I decide to do this and I decide that I'm going to go tape and you can go look this up. Like it's, I think I actually have the document open because I'm working on putting together my my energy healing methodology. Yes. Okay, here it is. So I always forget his name. If you want to look at how words affect things, go Google Dr. Emoto. He does this like cool thing where he does an experiment with freezing water and seeing how he puts different words on the water, freezes it into different formations of snowflakes. And when he uses positive words, the snowflakes are really pretty. And when he uses negative words, the snowflakes don't amount to much. It's really cool. So I decide that I'm going to tape the word gratitude onto my water heater because I'm like, oh, maybe my water heater doesn't think that I love it enough to work correctly. So I'm working on this energy around my water heater. I tape the gratitude card onto the water heater. And then I think since I taped the word onto it, it's only popped off 2 times. But also, Actually, I don't even think it did. Okay, so let me rewind. So I put the thing on there. It says gratitude. And then a few days later, because we're contemplating having to call the service company to come and look at it. A couple days later, Dave tells me randomly, he's like, remember so-and-so? And I was like, yeah, because he's done some work for us on our irrigation line. And he used to do work for Dave when Dave was working at the cemetery. That he would come and fix the water system. And Dave's like, remember him? I ran into him. I was like, oh, cool. You know, Dave's like, I haven't seen him for a couple years, or at least more than a year, I would say, maybe 2. And anyway, I'm like, well, that's cool. And Dave's like, yeah, I randomly just had this thought that I should ask him about boilers. And I'm like, you asked the plumber guy about boilers. Keep in mind, the only work he's ever done for us is outside irrigation systems. So that's not really aligned, at least for me, for boilers, and probably not really for Dave either. But Dave's like, I just had this thought that I should ask him if he's ever worked on boilers. And he tells Dave, he's like, oh, yeah, I've worked on boilers a lot. Now, boilers are not really that common. And when we have tried to find people to come and service our boiler before, there's only really one company in town that will do it. Otherwise, we have to call somebody from 2 hours away. So it's not like it's really common. And so Dave's like, oh, seriously? And he's like, yeah, I've worked on tons of boilers. So Dave tells him what's going on with the boiler. And he tells Dave, you just need to go to Lowe's and you buy this little thing. And he shows it on his phone and tells him how to fix it. And so Dave comes and buys this little thing and slaps it on the boiler. And now the boiler is working just fine. And so there was a part of me initially that was like, wait, I did this like energy around my boiler and I should have been able to fix it, la, la, la. And then I had to do some self-reflection and I was like, whoa, don't overlook your answers, because what happened? My boiler didn't magically fix itself because I worked on it energetically, right? Is what happened is Dave was put into connection with someone that could give him the exact answer to know how to fix the boiler. But when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, what now? I'm like, no, no, no. So sometimes we're not looking or noticing how things are playing out for us, right? I had gotten into forcing how I wanted the boiler to respond or react instead of recognizing or allowing the answer to come. And so it was a connection. Cool, huh? All right, let's do another one. So second of all, my horse, my Palomino is always trying to die. So she's always getting sick. I'm always having to work on her. And this last time she just really got bad. She just lost a ton of weight. She got into a space where we thought maybe another one of the horses was not letting her eat. And so we separated everybody. And then I was like, man, I just don't feel like she's eating right. And I was like, do I call the vet? Like, what do I need to do here? We had just taken the other dog to the vet because he literally pulled his ACL or ripped his ACL or tore his ACL. So I already have this like huge vet bill coming. And so we decide we're going to start graining her. So graining the horse so she'll put on some weight and see if we can fix whatever's going on. So we start graining her and then we cause her to colic. So if you don't know what colicking is, it's not really something that is super explainable to why it happens, but basically it's the horse's digestive system starts going into this like total mess and everything gets all like twisted and messed up. And if you don't keep them walking forward and they decide to lay down, they're basically, their digestive system, everything goes into, I like to think of it as kind of like a paralysis state, and then they don't pass things and ultimately they die. And it's very serious. So my horse is laying on the ground. She looks like she's having a seizure. I am like, I'm just going to call the vet. Like, I don't want to mess with this anymore. So I try to get a hold of the vet. It's like a Friday night. Nobody shows up. So nobody comes. I leave a message and no one shows up. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do everything that I can. So I actually did some energy healing on her where I held my hands to where I knew I could feel the issue that was going on in her stomach. And you could actually visually see it. She had a big, huge bump in her stomach and it was moving almost around. It was horrifying, really. So I got her up. I started walking her. I had an impression that I should take her out of the pasture so she could graze. And so I was able to keep her going. And then she had a bowel movement. And I was like, perfect, because that means that stuff is flowing, right? And so then I decided to still call the vet. So the vet came the following Monday and he went out there and he's some pneumonia going on. And I was like, okay, I did find a virus, yada, yada, yada. So he gave us some stuff to give to her and she won't eat it. But within 24 hours of the vet coming, maybe 12 hours of the vet coming, she was just like popping out of it. She was like 100% herself. Before she was like so lethargic. And just, it was sad to watch her doing that. And then she's like walking up to the fence. She's got her head over the fence. She's nickering. She's like all eating again. And it was amazing because she just had gotten really yucky for like, I don't know, a couple weeks. And so once again, I was like, wait, like, I was doing energy healing on her. What exactly happened here? And it comes back to the same thing, like not forcing the outcome of what I have to have happen, but allowing things to flow. Like I stopped trying to come up with like this perfect solution for what I thought was going on with her. And I just quieted my mind and I felt the need to take her out and let her graze. I felt the need to call the vet. I felt the need to do the energy on the side of her. Like I stopped trying to just find the solution and I allowed things to come to me in answers. And that played out to be like a complete 180 turnaround where she could have just laid on the ground and colicked and died. Like the vet literally just knew immediately, like, this is what's going on. So that helped me because I was like clearing out a virus, clearing out this pneumonia, clearing out any trapped fluid in her lungs. Like it just helped us get to the end goal super fast by me not focusing on it. And it was really cool. All right, one more. So another thing that I have been having issues with is every time I have my menstrual cycle, I get the most horrifying headaches that basically I cannot function because I am so nauseous and I have a bad headache and I'm just nauseated and I hate it. Like I can't work right. I sit in my office at work and I'm just like not capable of doing anything. I start feeling like almost a tiny bit like I have the flu. It is just like no fun. Okay. So the only way that I've been able to get this to go away before is then I have to get on a birth control pill and then I take it for like 3 months straight so I can just skip my cycle. But I don't preferably like to mess with my cycle, and I'm not really a super big fan of putting medication into my body unless I need it. And so I was like, okay, I do energy healing. Like I am bound and determined to figure out what imbalances that I can do so that I can get this to go away. And so the problem is that I would forget about it and then I would wait and then suddenly I would start getting my headache. And then by then it's too late, right? I'm already feeling yucky. So I don't have the energy to work on myself, let alone I'm trying to work on other people at the same time. So I worked on myself and I would say that I got myself to a point where it was getting better. It was getting better, not 100% gone. And then I ran across a website. Well, I didn't run across a website. So I use the website to buy all of my vitamins. So I do keto and I take a calcium and a multivitamin and some magnesium and everything just to make sure that I'm staying balanced since keto is a little more restrictive. And so I happened to notice that there was this specific supplement that like popped up on, my screen for like suggested items to buy or whatever. And I was like, I'm like, this is supposed to balance out like female hormones, estrogen, your progesterone, like all that stuff. And I was like, do I want to spend $25 on this bottle? Right. Not really a big deal, but I was like, okay. Once again, I sat back and I was like, quiet the mind, is this supplement going to be helpful for me? And I did kinesthetic muscle testing. Guys, if you're like, I don't know what that is, it's really cool. It's based off of quantum physics and basically the energy of your body, and your cells know everything. Your cells know everything. They have memories. They know your vibrational level, so you can actually muscle test. So this is how I do it. If you want to know more about this, send me a message because I'm setting up a whole course for it. But anyway, I was like, okay, is this supplement going to help me with my issue? Yes. This is a no. This is a yes. Yes, yes, yes. So I bought it and I started taking it. And I can 100% say now, because it's been 2 months, 3 months, 3 months since I've done it, I haven't had one of my headaches with the nausea since. So working on releasing imbalances associated with that and then muscle testing the right supplement for myself. Bam. But at the beginning, I was like, my energy healing isn't working. And then no, it is, right? Once again, I changed the situation. So what happened? The supplement that I needed popped up on my screen. Otherwise, I never would have looked for it. I just happened to notice it was for balancing female hormones. And then I was able to be like, oh, is this the supplement that I need? Yes or no? And bam. So just like with the other things, it didn't come exactly how I wanted it to or thought it would with the boiler, but Dave was brought into a situation where someone was able to help him. Same thing with the vet situation with the horse. I didn't magically fix her overnight, but I was brought into a situation where I was able to do the right work on her and then had, a little bit of impression from the vet knowing exactly what was going on. And then boom, we were able to turn her around like right away. When honestly, I would have bet money on the fact that she was going to pass away. In fact, we worked on her and then I went camping and my son was here and I was like, please do not be alarmed if you go out in the pasture and the horse has passed away. There's just not anything we can do for her. She is having some digestive things and we've done everything we can at this point, but just don't have a cow if you go outside and she's passed away. Like that's how bad she was. Okay. Second, with the vitamin thing, like I'm working on myself, trying to get rid of the headaches, but I had an outside need, right? And so that came to me as a situational answer. So I'm telling you this because sometimes things are there and we don't always see them. And I have this happen a lot with what I call tender mercies, with little things that my daughter that's passed away that my daughter leaves for me, or little things that happen. I did a clearing. It's in my Blocked Emotions group where I did a clearing on the space where my husband took his life. Letting things come to you, allowing things to happen for you instead of forcing. I have drove past the space where my husband took his life probably 5 times this year alone, where I was like, man, I feel like something is supposed to happen. I don't really know what. And I just kept being quiet until I received the impression of what needed to go on. Okay. So if you're always trying to find the solution to everything, sometimes you're being too loud and you can't hear what it is, but also recognize things that come to you. So I was having emotion. I was paying bills today, financial issues going on, right? Because obviously I just bought a freaking brand new truck. And so I'm like, okay, I have to budget this in and figure some stuff out. And I have another financial obligation that had happened with Dave's business. And I was like, oh, how am I going to make this work? And then it just came to me, right? I'm like, relax, calm down. Stop trying to force it and just allow things to happen for yourself. Bring in the abundance that you need. This will be fine. And immediately I was like, check this credit card that you haven't used for a really long time. And I popped right in there and I had this beautiful balance transfer offer so that I could transfer with 0% interest. And I was like, bam, right? So that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't mean magically somebody's going to show up at my door with $10,000 and be like, here you go. I mean, it can happen that way. But sometimes it's just the answer, something that comes to you so that you can take care of whatever it is that you need to take care of, okay? But be allowing that to come for you. And then I always, caveat that with have some gratitude for it. Things are happening for you, things are coming. It doesn't happen exactly how you think it should, but have some gratitude that it worked out for you. All right. Allowing yourself to align for things to work out for you so your mind becomes quiet. Okay, guys. Now, I have talked a lot tonight about energy type stuff. And so if you're like, hey, this is really interesting to me and you want to dabble in that a little bit more, send me a message and just say interested, because I have this super cool thing that's coming off. It's a group that I'm doing. I won't go into lots of details, but it is me putting together my own methodology over all the stuff that I found that works really well in teaching you how to do it. And if you're like, oh yeah, I don't think I can do that. That's only because people all your life have taught you that you are a physical human being. Well, because you are, but you're more than that. Okay. We just don't teach people how to do that. And so some of you are born with this beautiful innate ability to see things, to feel things. So people receive these gifts through auditory, through seeing impressions, seeing an image, feeling, hearing. It's all about your sensory system. So when you're vibrating on a specific level, you can receive these impressions. So for those of you that are like, yeah, I've never had that happen before. So I had to show this to Dave because I get things from Kinley all the time. And he's like, oh, she never sends me anything. And I'm like, yes, she does. You're just not seeing, hearing it, feeling it. So I showed him how to work on changing his frequency. Ringing in the ears, that's a really good indication that you have things that are coming through, but you're not on the right frequency. You're not on the right radio station to get them. Okay. Anybody can do this, you guys. It's your divine right to heal yourself. And then when you heal yourself and you figure out how to do that, you can heal other people. Anybody can do it. It's just that no one has ever showed you how. Okay, so basically we're taking those gifts that you have, or you may think that they're not gifts. You may think that they're actually curses, because if you're an empath like me, you go around feeling everybody else's energy and you don't know how to channel it and you don't know what to do with it. And so it's just overwhelming and you get super anxiety. And then that creates lots of depression for yourself. Okay, so I'm putting that together. It's going to be fantastic. But anyways, you can message me. Just say, hello, I'm interested in what you got going on there. All right, guys. Okay. So Lynette, I recognize things and I'm like, oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. Your mind gets in the way. The cognitive mind gets in the way of everything. That's why like my methodology is combining both the Western theory approach of therapy with the holistic approach of energy, because you got to bring those together. Because if you don't have your cognitive mind working with your subconscious mind and doing it here in the space in the middle, it doesn't work as well. Because some people, right? Some people resonate really well with cognitive therapy, with traditional therapies. Some people don't resonate with therapy at all. And some people resonate really well with energy healing and energy work. And so we want to find that happy space in the middle where it works for everybody, works for more people, works for the majority. Let's call it that. Okay. All right, you guys, thanks for hopping on. I hope you have a beautiful night. This will be on my YouTube channel. So if you ever want to find my videos, you can go to YouTube channel. It's Honest Sassy Mama is what it is. You can subscribe and then it will chime you anytime that I upload a new one. I hope you guys have a beautiful night. I hope you have a blessed rest of your day. And I hope you had a beautiful 4th of July holiday weekend. And I will see you, if not before, next Monday.